Amid the big games over the festive period, Congolese football stars may well have their minds focused on events back home. People in the vast country of the Democratic Republic of Congo are voting in crucial polls to replace 7-year-old President Joseph Kabila 2 days before Christmas. In the 6 decades since independence, it has not had a peaceful transfer of power, and 20 years ago, what became known as Africa's World War was fought on Congolese soil. Insecurity and rebel groups still plague areas of the country. I feel sad not only because of the war, but the general situation in Congo. It is so sad to have a rich country, and the people there being so poor. It's not normal, says Christian Kabasele, a defender with English Premier League side Watford. The footballer was born in Lubumbashi, the main city in a region rich in minerals that are used to produce many of the world's mobile phones and electric car batteries. Money is not well distributed. Only the politicians on top of the state are those kinds of people get the money. What is most painful for me is that it seems that not a lot of people in the world talk about this. He laments, "It is like there is some problem in this country, but we just do not care." The subtract-year-old says he has not been back home since he was young. "I was a few months old, and I do not have many memories. My parents thought the best way to have a better chance for my brother and I was to move to Belgium." More on DR Congo. He is among a large Congolese diaspora, including other high-profile football players, who left the country for Europe over the last 4 decades fleeing political and economic instability. They are hoping that the elections on Sunday will usher in a new era of peace and development. Some of the football stars who were born in Europe still see themselves as Congolese, including Benik Afobe, who plays for Stoke City in England. "Since I was born, my parents taught me Lingala, the Congolese language. I eat Congolese food. I have always felt Congolese in my heart and in my blood," says Afobe, who also plays as a DR Congo international, Belgium international and Manchester City captain. Vincent Kompany, who was also born in the diaspora, agrees his connection to DR Congo is strong. "I have been to Congo many times, Kinshasa and Bukavu. It is my country. It feels close to my heart, and everything I represent is always a little bit for Congo and for Belgium. I want the country to move forward, like every Congolese guy," said Kompany. When asked about the political situation in the country, where more than 20,000 and peacekeepers have been deployed for the last 2 decades, he says, "It is such a broad and complex subject for DR Congo to progress. Here it is everyone, voters and politicians include, to think of future generations. All I can say is that the future is always the children. However much we support them is however much the country is going to get back, and perhaps that is the key for Africa, to look after our children." For Lomana LuaLua, who played for Portsmouth and Newcastle in the English Premier League at the height of his career, the solution is more fundamental. "For Congolese people, first of all, we really owe it to our hearts to love one another," said LuaLua. Premier League defender Masuaku agrees the situation back home is so dim. "It's sad because I know for a fact that we are the richest country in the world. But when you go there, you see poverty everywhere," the French West Ham player says. With the campaign to elect a successor to Mr. Kabila already marred by deadly clashes, his only wish is no war, just peace. That is it. For Kabasele, it's time for voters to take the future into their hands. They do not have to be afraid of what could be the consequences if they do not vote for this guy or that guy. They need to have the courage they need to respect the final decision and not, like so many times in the past, go on the streets and create some chaos. But first of all, they need to vote with courage. The US military says it has killed 62 fighters from the Islamist group al-Shabab in 6 airstrikes in Somalia. 4 airstrikes on Saturday killed 32 militants, and a further 2 on Sunday killed 28, it said in a statement. These were the deadliest air attacks in Somalia since November 2017, when the US said it had killed 100 militants. Somalia has seen a sharp increase in the number of airstrikes and casualties since President Donald Trump took office in the United States in January 2017. A tally by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism reveals that at least 400 people have been killed in airstrikes since the beginning of 2017, far more than the previous 10 years combined. The latest strikes bring to at least 40 the number carried out in Somalia so far this year, compared with 35 recorded in 2017. The United States has a huge military base in neighboring Djibouti, from where it launches attacks on the militants. Mr. Trump gave the US military greater authority in March 2017 to attack militants in Somalia. Traditionally, United States presidents have been wary of intervening in Somalia since 18 Special Forces soldiers spied fighting militias in the capital Mogadishu in 1993, a battle dramatized in the film Black Hawk Down. No civilians were killed in the latest airstrikes, which were carried out in coordination with the Somali government. The US military said, alongside our Somali and international partners, we are committed to preventing al-Shabab from taking advantage of safe havens from which they can build capacity and attack the people of Somalia, the US Africa Command said. Al-Shabab, which is linked to al-Qaeda, has not yet commented on the latest strikes. Somalia-based security think tank the DR Institute said in a report published in November that al-Shabab had been forced to change tactics following the upsurge in airstrikes. The institute said the group was now conducting fewer mass attacks on military bases, but attacks on government offices and businesses which refused to pay its taxes had increased markedly. The US State Department, in its most recent report on terrorism, described Somalia as a terrorist safe haven and said al-Shabab remained a threat despite suffering setbacks. The group retained control over large parts of the country and the ability to carry out high-profile attacks using suicide bombers, explosive devices, mortars, and small arms. The report added, the United States military says it has killed 62 fighters from the Islamist group al-Shabab in 6 airstrikes in Somalia. 5 airstrikes on Saturday killed 32 militants, and a further 2 on Sunday killed 28, it said in a statement. These were the deadliest air attacks in Somalia since November 2017, when the United States said it had killed 100 militants. Somalia has seen a sharp increase in the number of airstrikes and casualties since President Donald Trump took office in the US in January 2017. A tally by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism reveals that at least 400 people have been killed in airstrikes since the beginning of 2017, far more than the previous 10 years combined. The latest strikes bring to at least 40 the number carried out in Somalia so far this year, compared with 35 recorded in 2017. The United States has a huge military base in neighboring Djibouti, from where it launches attacks on the militants. Mr. Trump gave the US military greater authority in March 2017 to attack militants in Somalia. Traditionally, United States presidents have been wary of intervening in Somalia, since ATN Special Forces soldiers fight fighting militias in the capital Mogadishu in 1993, a battle dramatized in the film Black Hawk Down. No civilians were killed in the latest air strikes, which were carried out in coordination with the Somali government, the US military said. Alongside our Somali and international partners, we are committed to preventing al-Shabab from taking advantage of safe havens from which they can build capacity and attack the people of Somalia, the US Africa Command said. Al-Shabab, which is linked to al-Qaeda, has not yet commented on the latest strikes. Somalia-based security think tank the Herald Institute said, in a report published in November, that al-Shabab had been forced to change tactics following the upsurge in airstrikes.